Ellie Martinez always walked with her head slightly down, not because she was shy, but because she had learned that avoiding attention kept the day easier. Seventh grade at Jefferson Middle School wasn't particularly kind to kids who stood out, especially not to kids like her. Her father, Mr. Luis Martinez, was the school janitor. He was known for being quiet, respectful, and always cleaning long after everyone else had gone home. Most kids didn't even know his name. They just called him the custodian. Ellie didn't mind. She adored her father. He raised her alone after her mother passed when she was only 5. He taught her to be kind, honest, and never ashamed of who she was, even if other people didn't see value in it. But some lessons were harder to follow in real life, especially when everyone in school made sure she never forgot who her dad was. It was Wednesday morning, and Ellie was already running 2 minutes late for her social studies class. She had stayed back to help her father clean up spilled milk and rice in the cafeteria, a mess another student left behind. She had asked her teacher assistant for a late pass, which she held tightly in her hand now as she rushed into room 107. The door creaked as she entered, and the entire class turned. Ms. Randall, a strict teacher known for her zero-tolerance attitude, paused mid-sentence and narrowed her eyes at Ellie. "Again?" she said coldly. "Ellie, this is the 3rd time this month. Do you take this class seriously at all?" "I have a hall pass," Ellie said softly, approaching the front. Ms. Randall didn't even look at it. "I don't want to hear your excuses. You're not special. Maybe if you focused more on your studies and less on helping your father clean floors, you'd be on time." The classroom went dead silent. Mason, one of the louder boys in the back, snorted. "Probably had to take out the trash first," he whispered. Laughter broke out, and Ms. Randall didn't stop it. She simply pointed to the door. "Out! I've had enough of this. Go to the principal's office." Ellie's cheeks flushed, but not from shame, from hurt. The kind of hurt that cuts so deeply it leaves no words behind. She clutched the pass tighter, but turned and walked out without another word. The door clicked shut behind her. The hallway was empty. The sound of her footsteps echoed as she made her way to the office. She sat there for nearly an hour, while the secretary dealt with a line of students. No one called her father. No one asked what happened. When Mr. Martinez finally arrived after getting word from the nurse, who overheard a student talking about it, he was confused. "Did she do something wrong?" he asked the secretary. "No, sir. You should probably speak to Ms. Randall," the secretary replied, clearly uncomfortable. Louise sat next to Ellie, who kept her eyes on her lap. "I didn't do anything wrong," she whispered. He didn't doubt her for a second. That night, Louise said very little during dinner. He cooked her favorite, arroz con pollo, and helped her with her homework like always. But something in his face had changed, a stillness. The kind that doesn't scream, but speaks with quiet certainty. Before Ellie went to bed, he kissed her forehead and said, "Tomorrow everything changes, okay?" She didn't understand what he meant, but nodded. She trusted him. The next morning, Mr. Martinez did not put on his janitor's uniform. He wore a tailored navy blazer and dress shoes that hadn't seen daylight in years. He kissed Ellie goodbye and left 15 minutes earlier than usual. By 9:30 a.m., 2 large black SUVs pulled up in front of Jefferson Middle School. Men in suits stepped out, calm and professional. One of them checked a clipboard at the entrance. Another wore a visible earpiece. Within minutes they were inside the building, requesting to speak with the principal. Luis followed behind them. No mop, no broom, only a sealed folder in his hand. Students at their lockers stopped to stare. Teachers poked their heads out of classrooms. Something was happening, something serious. And no one had any idea that the girl they laughed at just yesterday was the reason for everything that was about to unfold. The principal's office felt unusually tense as Mr. Martinez stepped inside, with the 3 suited men following close behind. Principal Monroe stood from his desk, his voice unsure. "Mr. Martinez, what's going on here?" Luis didn't raise his voice. He simply placed a sealed folder on the desk and said calmly, "You should open that." As Monroe flipped through the documents inside, his face began to shift, from curiosity to disbelief to visible concern. The papers included federal clearance documentation, government project involvement, and his active role as a consultant for Homeland Security. One of the suited men stepped forward and spoke formally. "We are here under federal clearance. Your staff's treatment of Mr. Martinez's daughter yesterday violated several protocols related to relocation protection and identity confidentiality. This will be documented and reviewed." Word traveled quickly through the school. Security officers stood outside every entrance, scanning the halls. Phones buzzed in students. Pockets as rumors flew. Secret agents, government people. Martinez is actually rich or military. Inside room 107, Ms. Randall continued teaching, oblivious to the events unfolding, until a soft knock came at the door. When she opened it, she saw the principal, Mr. Martinez, and two security officials. Her mouth opened slightly, confused. "Is something wrong?" she asked. "We need to speak with your class," the principal said. He stepped inside and the room went silent. Mr. Martinez's eyes scanned the room until they landed on Ellie. She looked unsure but stood slowly. "Come here, Mija," he said softly. Ellie walked to him, her steps hesitant. Ms. Randall raised her hand. "I don't understand." "What is this about?" One of the security men handed her a notice. "You may want to read this. There's an ongoing investigation into your classroom conduct." Her face flushed with confusion and then a creeping sense of panic. "Are you saying this is about yesterday?" "Look, I was just maintaining order. She was late again." "Because she stayed behind to help clean the cafeteria," Mr. Martinez said, his voice steady. "Because she was helping me. And instead of receiving kindness, she was mocked, insulted, and thrown out of class." The classroom was dead silent. Mason, the student who had joked the day before, stared down at his desk, visibly uncomfortable. The rest of the students looked frozen in place. "She's not just a janitor's daughter," Luis continued. "She's my daughter. And while I may have held a mop, I've also held a security badge for the Department of Homeland Security. I worked undercover during 3 different assignments before accepting relocation here." Ms. Randall's lips parted, unable to find a response. The principal cleared his throat. "Mr. Martinez has every right to keep his role private. But the treatment his daughter received crossed several lines, professionally and ethically." The agent beside him added, "Under the Relocation Support Act, any harassment or exposure of a protected family member can result in legal and administrative consequences. We're not here to embarrass anyone, but we are here to ensure it never happens again." Luis placed a gentle hand on Ellie's back. "She didn't deserve what happened yesterday. No child does." Without saying another word, he nodded at the men in suits and left the classroom with Ellie walking beside him. The door closed behind them, but the silence remained. For the first time, Ms. Randall didn't have anything left to say. The rest of the school day moved like a slow, stunned current. Teachers whispered in lounges. Students stared at Ellie in the hallways, but not with laughter, this time with quiet awe. By the time the final bell rang, the story had made it across every grade. The next morning, Ellie returned to school wearing the same shoes, same faded jeans, same backpack. But something had changed. The hallway didn't feel cold anymore. Some kids smiled as she walked past. One even opened a door for her. Ms. Randall didn't make eye contact when Ellie stepped into class. Mason muttered a soft apology under his breath. Ellie didn't respond. She didn't need to. Her father had already said everything that mattered, and for once, the silence that followed was filled with respect, not pity.